We'll start with public comment. If you come up to make a comment, please make sure to write your name and address down and state that as well. Is there anybody in the room who would like to address the committee?
Hi, Karen Pringle, 25 Bird, Barrington. Thank you for all that you do for us in the Tide in the schools. I would like to state that we support DEI activities in the town. We support the DEI committee. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Dr. Tanya Murtha, and I live at 6 Alfred Drive in Barrington. And I am also here in support of DEI efforts, and I want to acknowledge, as a physician and a pediatrician, and taking care of many patients, some of whom have been trans and have been considering those transitions, and the experiences and the mental health of those individuals is very, very challenging. And I've had a patient of my own who tried to commit suicide because of that experience. And so I really want us to be incredibly thoughtful about how we address the executive orders that are coming down, what's actually in place, what's being challenged, and just be really thoughtful that this is a very complex issue that should be taken more seriously than it sometimes feels that it is. I'm not saying from you all, but just I think in our society in general at the moment. And it just really concerns me a lot, and I just want you all to kind of be thinking about the human impact of these decisions.
Thank you.
Very well unusual to respond, but I want to echo your comments. Our job is to protect every student, every staff member, regardless of what's going on in their life. So please take that to heart, that regardless of what's happening at the federal level, we will ensure that everyone's protected and taken care of.
Thank you.
Jacob Breyer, Western Avenue. Also in support of DEI initiatives on the DEI committee. And I just wanted to express some concern about seeing a possible reversion back to an old policy. In August, the committee updated the Title IX policy to include protections for more students, for more staff members. And it looks, from the little bit I can see in trying to discern what's on the agenda, it looks like we're completely striking those new protections and reverting back to an old policy. So if that is the case, and I'm not misunderstanding it, I hope that you'll vote that down and not pass that change now. Because as the superintendent said, it's important to protect all students, all staff members, and to create a strong policy for the whole community. Thank you.
It might be helpful just, from a legal perspective. So you're right, the Title IX policy is being reverted back to the old policy. We're required to do that by law because there was a case that required every single district in the country to go back to the old regulations. That said, it changes the way that we would potentially investigate and handle an investigation based around gender identity, and there's also some pregnancy protections, breastfeeding, lactation protections that were in there. It changes those things in that we no longer can address those as Title IX. Title IX is a federal law. We're legally required to make that change. If we were to have the old regulations in place, we are violating the law. That said, as a state, and I think this is maybe reassuring for anyone who's listening, the federal law and federal civil protections are a floor, and our state has enacted greater protection than that. So we still have policies and law and guidance from RIDE in place that would address all of those groups. So if there was a complaint based on something like gender identity or for one of the groups that's no longer covered under Title IX, we would still be required under state law and RIDE regulations and Barrington School Committee policies to investigate those just in a different way. But all of those students still have protection in this district and employees in this district. So I want to be clear that I think, my legal advice to the committee would be that they have to make that change based on the change in the law, but that there are other protections in place under RIDE regulations, state law, and our own policies that encompass all of those groups.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yes. Can we go?
You can come up to the podium.
Hi.
This is Remy Minardi. She lives at 40 Prospect Street.
Hi. I can see you guys looking, and I can tell that this is seeming like she's speaking. So before this, don't take my age at any standpoint. I get that maybe there's law in place here, but you are protected. This year we had a Martin Luther King Day celebration, and I was there, and I remember, and I saw everyone there, and there were so many people, which was great. But the thing is, we are supposed to be judged by the content of our character, and how that works. We should not be judged by our gender, no matter what pronouns we use, no matter who we say we are. And I know trans kids, and they are great people, and that they deserve rights just as much as any other rights. And many schools in our school we have a club, and in all of them they say, and most of them really say something about trust and faith and saying no to bullying, and continuously refusing to give anyone who's trans help would be the literal definition of bullying, which I'm pretty sure that there's strict laws against that in terms of legal purposes. So,
I'm Leona Maris, I'm Remy's mom. Our family came tonight in support of trans children here in Barrington who need the support of the school committee.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, Paige Ron, Walnut Road, Barrington. As the mom of a transgender kiddo who is actually leaving the school system because of bullying and fear and constant anxiety, I just wanted to come up here and urge specifically the committee, but also specifically Rob Wargo, to please put out a statement saying that you support all children, especially our transgender and queer children who are being erased by federal mandates. They need to know that the school system stands by them. The Warwick Public Schools have already released letters to every family in the school department saying that they support all kids. We need the same thing there in Barrington. Thank you.
All right. There's no other public comment. We'll see if anybody's online. I do want to say thank you all for showing up, and I love that you have the hoodies and good message. Thank you. Anybody online? Kristen?
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Kristen Mancini. I'm at 87 Hamilton Avenue. I have been a high school science teacher for almost 20 years now. I also have 2 children in the school system. I echo the sentiments of the other people who have spoken. I support the DEI efforts in town. And I'm just very greatly concerned to see that the Title policies that at the local level, we protect our trans and non-binary kids to feel safe at school. Because it's not just for them, although that is incredibly important. It's for all of our kids. Because when our kids see those kids not safe, they don't feel safe. And we need to create that community. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kristen. Anybody else online? Moving on. Okay. Title IX. Audrey.
Yeah, so let me just, because I understand that this can be a concerning thing. I understand why people are concerned about it. I just want to give a little bit of an explanation. So we had 2020 regulations and rules that were put in place around Title IX. At that time, all school districts developed new Title IX policies because they were required to. Then with a new administration, there were changes that were made to those regulations that were to take place as of August 1, 2024. There were a number of injunctions filed in different jurisdictions that certain school districts were able to go forward, and even by school. Like I had some school districts where 3 schools were enjoined from participating in the new rules and 2 weren't. In Barrington, you didn't have any of those legal challenges. It was a Moms of Liberty challenge. You didn't have any of those legal challenges. We went ahead and passed the new Title IX policy, which encompassed all of the new rules. On January 9th, 2025, in the United States District Court for the Eastern District of Kentucky, Tennessee versus Cardona vacated the Biden administration's 2024 changes to the Title IX regulations and required that all school districts also vacate those changes. To kind of explain why this is something that we need to do, number one, it's a liability issue, but number two, if we have the wrong Title IX policy, I am concerned as your attorney that someone who is a complainant, who does fall under the previous regulations, who filed a complaint, then could have that complaint appealed and overturned because we're operating under the wrong policy in accordance with the wrong regulations. Federal law is one thing, so it's a floor, and it was just a few months ago, that floor was getting a little higher and encompassed a larger group of people. All of those subgroups, and in particular, it's students who would be discriminated against based on gender identity. That's really the piece that the lawsuit targets. Those students, while not covered under Title IX, are still covered under state law, under RIDE regulations, under your gender identity policy, and also your anti-harassment and bullying policy. So there are still many avenues for those investigations to take place. Discrimination based on gender identity in Barrington is still not in compliance with policy and something that would be investigated and handled in a serious manner. We can't handle it as a Title IX because it's no longer part of federal law under Title IX. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Obviously, if anybody in this room wants that change to be made. I guess I'm at least feel better about the fact that we're basically, we're to stick with it. This doesn't change our policy.
It doesn't. It should not change the way we do anything other than we wouldn't follow along with a title. We don't have to follow the title. We wouldn't be able to follow the Title IX procedure. So there wouldn't be Title IX protection. It's not us who's taking our policy. Getting rid of the policy isn't going to change the Title IX protection. It's been going since January 9th when this lawsuit came out. But there's state protection, there's district protection. You can do things to bolster, if you want to take a look at your other policies to make sure that you're encompassing everything that was encompassed under Title IX, I encourage you to do that. I just don't think that you can go in this direction because if the protection's gone anyway, changing the policy one way or the other isn't going to matter. And I am concerned that you have a student who is a student who still falls under the regulations and is sexually assaulted at school, that then whoever the respondent is, if you find that they were responsible, could then appeal this and say they had procedurally they have a problem, they have the wrong policy, they're operating under the wrong regulations, and I don't think we want that to happen either. And I also don't want us to be sticking out as a subject for potential suits by people who may be looking to see if districts have changed their Title IX policy back, because I think that's going to help the students that you are interested in protecting, or every student that we're interested in protecting either.
Okay. I do think that we need to review our policy and just make sure. And I'm not on the policy committee, but I support that's fine. Okay, do we need to vote on this?
So I'm sorry.
I actually said I'm not putting my name on this, but I guess I don't have
But
any choice.
it's the right advice.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? All right, can I have a motion to, is this 2 votes?
It's 2 votes. You need to rescind the new policy for incidents on or after August 1st, and then what you had done to the old policy was say, this is for incidents that happened before August 1st, now we just need to get rid of that line, because now this is going to be for incidents that happen anytime. It's a small change.
Okay. Can I have a motion to rescind Title IX policy incidents on or after August 1st?
I'll make a motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, 3-0. Can I have a motion for revision of the Title IX policy for incidents prior to August 1st, 2024?
I'll make that motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, 3-0. Vote pass.
Chair, just, if I could for 1 second. I want to calm everyone present or everyone that's not here, that the vote taken right now is just to adhere to federal law. It will not in any way change what we do to protect the safeguards given to anybody that walks into our school or anybody related to our schools. So please understand that this is compliance. Our job is to make sure we protect everybody. We will do that. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Superintendent Borgo. I appreciate that, and I echo your sentiments. I know the committee is not wanting to make this change, but unfortunately we have no authority over federal law. But we are, and certainly speak for myself, but I believe the whole committee is 100% in favor of protecting all of our students, no matter gender identity or anything else. Everybody has equal rights in Barrington, and we will make sure that continues. Thank you.
Hi everyone, Tim McNamara, 9 Copper Kettle Lane. I apologize that I can't be there in my official